What's up, guys? Crypto Muser here. Today I want to talk about a couple things. The main thing I want to talk about in this video is that, the cryptocurrency market is a fairly new market, obviously. Just about a decade old. Bitcoin's been around for about, I think, 13 years or so. But most of these coins are very new. Just a couple of years ago, we were at a $50 billion market cap. And today we are sitting, a couple months ago, I think we hit 3 trillion. So obviously it's a growing market, more and more money coming in, more institutional money, more retail investors coming in. So as this market grows, you're going to see, and with the lack of regulation and clarity in the market, there's a lot of bad actors. You have a lot of scams, obviously, a lot of rug pulls, a lot of people trying to, a lot of maximalism, tribalism, people it's kind of like a money grab. It's like the wild, wild west right now. And until we get that clear regulation and clear, we know the rules in the market, we're going to have this kind of, like I said, wild, wild west attitude where everybody's kind of looking out for their own. And it's, like I said, a new market. So it's kind of a dangerous, obviously, it's the most volatile market in the world. So, the first thing I want to talk about is, so we have Bitcoin here at 41,559. We have Ethereum at 3,117, and we have XRP down here at 74 cents. Still ranging. Bitcoin really is ranging in that 44,000 to 40,000 for the last month and a half or so. Fear and greed index is still at, I think, 23. Extreme fear, obviously. So, the average retail investor still is very in fear. So these people, we need this market. We need Bitcoin we need those bulls to come in and get us above 44,000. Until then, I think we're just going to be ranging. But a short squeeze would be nice. If we could get those bulls to come in and get us past that 44,000 range, we might shoot up to 46, 48,000. And that would really start moving this market for the new year. So the first thing I want to talk about, on the onset of this video, I was talking about the fact that, it's a new market. So you're going to have, you really don't know where the bad actors are. You don't know if, these, especially in Congress and people in power, you don't know if they're just looking out for money or if they're actually looking out for, the future of the crypto market and the community. So it's hard to, right now it's really hard to, kind of search out and see who are the bad actors, who are the good actors. So this is Senator Loomis. She's a congresswoman from, I believe, Wyoming. Wyoming is a very crypto-friendly state. She's been passing policy in Wyoming that is very pro-crypto. And I do like a lot of what she's been doing, but this is where I kind of draw the line, where in this interview, let's just go over the interview and then we'll talk about it.
When you look at we've got a screen up, you probably can't see. We've got Bitcoin, we have Ether, we have Dogecoin at the bottom. There's another Shiba Inu there. The two of those are worth 80 billion. I know that you probably think that Bitcoin is here to stay. Do you think all of these different crypto assets are real and here to stay, or is there something to be concerned with? And do we need oversight so that people aren't left holding the bag for some of these things, whether they do or not? I'm not predicting one way or another.
I do think that Bitcoin is here to stay, and I think a lot of the others are not. The fact that Bitcoin is fully decentralized and that some of these others were issued by a person or an entity that kept a large block of the coin for themselves and then issued others to participate means they look more like a security than a commodity. Bitcoin is clearly a commodity. It is digital gold. So I do think that having a regulatory framework within which this can exist and innovate, meaning this entire space of digital assets, but that protects consumers at the same time, is extremely valuable. And that's why we in the Financial Innovation Caucus are, even as we speak, putting together and reviewing the legislation we have crafted to address these and other issues. Bitcoin is the standard. Everything else has to be monitored differently because they are created differently.
So, she said a couple good things there, but, the main thing that I disagreed with her on was that, any cryptocurrency that starts off is centralized. I mean, Bitcoin was centralized at first because, Satoshi Nakamoto created it, and he was the only one that owned it. And for the first couple months, there were only, a dozen people that ran nodes. And so even Bitcoin was centralized at first. So any cryptocurrency at first is going to be centralized until it gets more and more adopted, until more and more nodes are ran on it, and it becomes more and more decentralized. So you can make that argument about any digital currency, and Bitcoin in the same. So her argument there doesn't make much sense to me. Another thing she said that, Bitcoin is the standard and everything else, the exact quote is, everything else has to be monitored differently because they are created differently. So, it's just that Bitcoin maximalist argument that I can't stand. It's just, Bitcoin's the one and everything else is basically, can be regulated for whatever. But Bitcoin, we know it's digital gold. We know it's the standard. That's the type of argument, the type of thinking that I just don't agree with. So like I said in the onset of the video, I know that she was one of the only, she's one of two senators that said that they actually own crypto, that own Bitcoin, she said. So it's like, we can argue over senators and people in power owning stocks. But owning crypto is, I think, even worse because it's basically an unregulated asset class. She's a policymaker, so she's going to make, in the coming years or months, she's going to be making policy to benefit herself, obviously, if she owns Bitcoin. So it's like you can listen to her, but can you trust her? It's a very, it's murky water when you see politicians like this, because you don't know if they're out for themselves, if they actually care about the people in this market. So I just wanted to show you that quick interview and what she said there. And like I said, I agree with some things she was saying. And she is pro-crypto, so it's good to have people like that in Congress. But at the same time, you need to know, if they're out there for themselves or if they actually care about the community. So next I want to talk about, so this is huge. I saw this today. So let's just, I'm gonna watch the video and then we'll talk about it after.
Alex, talk to me about the...
Hold on, this is Alex, I believe, I forget his last name, but he runs the Celsius Network, which is a lending platform, one of the biggest lending platforms in crypto. So that's just want to give you that onset. Okay.
Alex, talk to me about the bank ecosystem as it is right now. We've had Vast Bank on the show here. They've talked about kind of their evolution of it. But one thing they did not mention was the yield components, which I think a lot of structured, banking systems in general, this really changes the game for them in terms of what their customers are going to be expecting, especially crypto customers, crypto investors, in terms of yields. Do you feel like the banks can ever truly make the leap into some of these higher and more attractive yield models?
So look, most banks are public companies, and you can go to their filings and see how much money they make. JP Morgan last quarter made $20 billion in net income. So the issue is not that they don't know how to create yield. They make tremendous amount of yield. They just choose to give 100% of that, almost 100% of that, to their shareholders. And Celsius chooses to create the same yield and give a very large chunk of that to its customers. So the issue is really not about banks don't know how to create yield. Banks are phenomenal at creating profits. They just don't want to share it with their customers. And the question is, are banks going to change their behavior because they're seeing so many customers leaving the banking system, right? So the real issue is that banks run to regulators and cry and say, all these new crypto companies are stealing our customers, they're stealing our assets. Shut them down. Really, all the regulators have to say back is, hey, you have to do more for your customers. You want to retain those customers? Don't ask us for regulation. Go and do more for your customers.
Now, guys, this is one of the most, the biggest things, I think one of the biggest things in crypto right now is DeFi and these lending platforms. So you hold your money in a bank. What he said there was very important about, banks make huge profits, huge profits off us giving them our money, and then they use our money to lend out, and they get interest on lending them our money out. So you're basically, why do you put money in a bank? You put money in a bank for security, right? That's what you think. You put your money in a bank because you think it's secure to put in there, and it's safely put in the bank. So when you want it, you can take it out whatever you want. But you don't, you do gain interest, but it's like 0.05%. If you look at your bank statement on a monthly basis, you get like, you get like $3, which is ridiculous. So they're making so much money off of your money by putting your money in their bank, but they give you nothing. Meanwhile, they make, billions of dollars in profit. So what he's saying at Celsius Network and a lot of these other lending platforms is, you put your money into, I guess you could call them a bank. You put your money into their bank, basically call it, and you get an APY. You get an annual percentage rate. So you get, and some of these rates are like anywhere from 5 to 10 to 15%. So it's like, you can see why banks are really losing their minds over this, because they're losing customers. Why would I put my money in a bank and gain basically zero interest and actually lose value because of inflation when I can put it into a cryptocurrency or one of these yield products and make 6%, 8% on my money that I'm putting in there? And the security's there too, because these are secure companies. So it's like, these bankers need to either get with the program, actually, share their profits with their customers, or, this revolution of crypto here is going to take their business. And, that's why you see such a fight by the SEC, because obviously we talked about the SEC is ran by the bankers. Gary Gensler is basically a Goldman Sachs shill. So it's like, you can see why these bankers and these big central banks are trying to stop crypto, but I think most of them know that they can't stop it. And they're going to have to either, what's the saying? You have to either, get with the program or you get left behind. You're going to get left behind. So most of these banks, they got a lot of money, and a lot of power, but as the time goes on, these lending products, and you can see why, like I said, the SEC is coming after them, but these lending products are so much more user-friendly and so much more customer-friendly, where you actually get a part of the profits. And, anybody that has a brain at all would choose one of these lending products over keeping their money in the bank any day. So, this is a huge part of the future of crypto, and the huge part of world finance as a whole is DeFi. DeFi is going to be the biggest thing, I think, in all of crypto. So just wanted to show you that. And I have another thing to show here, kind of along those same lines. Binance just came out and said that they are opening deposits for Wrapped XRP. And Wrapped XRP is I'll just read Crypto Eddie's tweet here just to explain it. So Wrapped XRP, further integration to leverage DeFi on ETH platforms. So Wrapped XRP is XRP leveraged on Ethereum platform. So basically now you can get a yield off your XRP with Wrapped XRP. So earning yield is one of the most powerful financial tools we have to stay ahead of tax and inflation. Don't allow Gensler to take that away. Remember, he was appointed and we can vote. So she's basically saying, Gensler is against all this. Obviously he went after Coinbase when they were trying to come out with a lending product, and basically said, if you come out with this lending product, we're going to sue you. So it's like any lending product is basically on what Gary Gensler is saying is you're basically, you're going to get sued. If you come out with these lending products, we're going to sue you. And, that just goes to show that they are so afraid of this technology. And these big banks are just, they're so power hungry and they're so, money hungry that they know that they're going to lose money if they don't, get with the program and come on to and make their own products. So I thought this was a big, story with XRP. As much as, everybody thinks there's a battle between XRP and ETH, but there really isn't. It's basically about the SEC and how they picked winners and losers. And they kind of were corrupt in the fact that they give ETH a free pass. But Ethereum itself, you can argue over the ETH gas fees and all that. But Ethereum obviously is a great platform. most coins are built on ETH, so it's it's going to be around here for in the coming future. They need to do a lot of changes, obviously, but I have nothing against Ethereum. I believe Ethereum will be here, but just wanted to give that quick fact that you can buy wrapped XRP on Binance. Moving on. So also saw this. This was great. So this was the what was it, North American Bitcoin Conference or so, whatever it was, down in Miami.
And I think that's a good idea.
And I believe it was in Miami, I want to say. I don't know. But so Mark Cuban was at the conference and he said some funny things. I'm just going to show you the interview and just watch what he says at the end here. And I just thought I really had a good laugh when I heard it.
Stablecoin will get regulated. And I think that's a good idea. And I'll tell you why. Because they're called stablecoins. And there's a whole, when you say you're pegged to the dollar, you better live up to it. Otherwise, a lot of people are going to lose a lot of money and they're going to shut your ass down. And while, the libertarian says, they should have known, do your own DYOR, right? Tough shit. That's just not the way, a country typically works, right? Government doesn't want to see their citizens getting their ass kicked, right? Particularly by foundations that are based overseas.
And the difference in this bull run is now we have stable coins, and that's creating a whole different...
Quick thing I want to say, he's saying that, regulators need to, if these stable coins are actually, rug pulls, or, if they're not, people, they say a stable coin is tied to the dollar, so each stable coin should be $1. But if they're not, and there's some shady business, regulation does have to come in, because they can't let just people, if the SEC actually did care about investors, they would actually come in with real regulation about these stable coins and about crypto. But obviously we know they do not care about investors, and they just care about their banker cronies, and it's all about the money. But just wanted to come in and say that real quick. Here we go. Continue on.
Different world of people are keeping their money in the industry in crypto with stable coins, and that needs to be sorted out.
Well, yeah, and look, there's algorithmic stable coins, which are even the people who created them and the people who buy them have no clue what's going to happen next. And so just the term stablecoin, and look, I say this, right, it doesn't mean they're going to get regulation right. And that's a big risk. So when you look at the stock market, the SEC's, they're fucked up. And so,
I thought that was funny.
And the best example of that, so when people talk about stocks being stable versus crypto, right?
And they rewind it.
They're fucked up. And so, versus crypto, right? Just look at the OTC and the bulletin board markets, where you can have bankrupt companies trading billions of shares.
So that's basically what I wanted to show you that. He obviously doesn't have much respect for the SEC. He got sued by the SEC, I think recently. And he's let it be known that he does not respect the SEC either. It's funny hearing Elon Musk, Mark Cuban, I think Jeff Bezos. These people really, when they got sued by the SEC, they really saw the SEC for what they were, and they're basically the mob, like I've talked about. They want their payoff. It's been a corrupt agency forever, and we really need to do something about it. But next thing I want to show is, so this is, I just thought this was great. This is an on-chain, quick on-chain analyst here, and this chart shows, so the gray is the price of Bitcoin, right? And the orange is the long-term holders selling Bitcoin. So you could see this is the 17-18 bull market. You could see obviously, they sold the top here and they were selling until then it consolidated until this is, I believe this is around the top of this past bull market, and they sold. But now look at it. It's basically now the long-term holders are either holding or they're buying. So that's a great sign. When long-term holders are actually buying and holding, that's a good sign that the market is stabilizing and that we're ready for another upside move. So just wanted to show you that quick. On-chain analytics, I think, are one of the important things to look at in this market, because you can look at technical analysis, that's great and all, but on-chain analytics are more like psychology of the market. And I believe, you have to look at both sides, because, psychology is a big part of, all markets. Human nature doesn't change much, it basically stays the same. So it's great to, break down those different analytics with on-chain. So I recommend, if you're going to use TA, also look into the on-chain analytics too, because they go hand in hand. So I'm going to end my video there. Just want to say I'm not a financial advisor. Don't take anything I say or write as financial advice. This is for educational and entertainment purposes only. Please like and subscribe. I really appreciate, guys, if you could comment and like, subscribe, so I can grow this channel a little more. Trying to grow this every day, trying to put a video out every day. Hope you guys like the content, and we'll see you on the next one.